Drowning in the chaos of your home and business is absolutely normal. It happens to everyone. If you can't keep up with your to-do list, if it's never ending, always getting longer, not getting shorter, if you feel scattered, you're behind in stuff at home, I know, it's super overwhelming. It's overwhelming for everybody. There's a lot to get done. That is exactly why I want to share these 12 tips with you today. They are going to be so great, so easy and simple for you to put into place. Get out a pen and paper. I'm going to blow through all of them. Let's jump into this episode. Welcome back to another episode right here on the Systemize Your Life YouTube channel. We are diving into 12 tips for you to get organized so that you can escape your overwhelm. I am Chelsi Jo, and I help women do just that, juggle their home and business with really specific systems. Not systems that are going to make it more complicated, systems that are going to make it easier. I want to make your life a whole lot easier because I have absolutely been there too. I am running a business. I have multiple people working for me in my company. I have 2 kids. We homeschool one of them. They're in all the extracurriculars. I support extended family members. I do a lot of stuff out in the community and with my church, and I'm doing things a lot, and I'm keeping up with my house, right? And I really am kind of a crunchy mom, and I believe in keeping somewhat moderately healthy food on the table. And so it is a lot of work. Here's the deal. I don't have to struggle with overwhelm, and I learned how to escape that a long time ago with some really specific systems. That's what this entire YouTube channel is about. But as a side note, before we jump into those 12 tips, I have a really cool opportunity for you coming up, and it is a 5-day free challenge called Escape Your Overwhelm. And I'm hosting it. It's for free. Check it out. Go over and grab your seat. We start very soon, and so I want you to be there. chelsijo.co/escape challenge. We're hitting this super hard for 5 days. I'm giving you all of the systems in order for you to get organized so you can escape your overwhelm. The things that we talk about here on the YouTube channel are all going to happen inside of this 5-day challenge, and I would love for you to be there. So click down below. If you're serious about making real progress, then I absolutely will see you over inside of that challenge. And let's go ahead and get started with these 12 tips, shall we? All right, I do plan on going around and showing you these tips, actually the tips in my house, but some of them I can just show you right here from my desk. And one of them is simplifying your routine. So this is tip number 1. I want you to simplify your routines, because if you're overcomplicating your schedule, then that is the definition of drowning. So the number one way that I have simplified my routines is through a method that I actually teach. And I keep it all right here in my paper planner. I've talked about this in so many videos, but it's because it's like the crux of every single thing that I do. I want you to get your routines very simplified, like a before school routine and after school routine. And you know exactly what happens during that time. And we anchor ourselves to it. Highly important, makes you extremely successful. If you just do the first tip that I just gave you, you're going to have so much less overwhelm. These repeatable rhythms, shall we say, are the things that I focus on every single day. So this one says, inside of my 5 time blocks that I teach, I have my ready routine and my reading routine. That's before the kids ever even wake up. And there's a series of things that I do in there, but it's super simple. I have a before school routine, a work block, and that's most of the morning and the afternoon part of my day. Then in the evening, we have a fundamental need that I do, like going to the gym or doing to-dos around the house, right? Then an after school routine, dinner, and bedtime routine. That's it. If you can figure out how to simplify your routines, you're going to do amazing. Okay, tip number 2 is to make sure that you are packing lunches the night before. These are my favorite lunch boxes. These are from a company called Bent Go, and I have tons of them. These are the ones that I got for myself. My kids love to take them. And when I say pack lunches the night before, I don't just mean for your kids. I mean for you too, even if you guys are all staying home. If you're a homeschooling mom, if you're a work from home mom like me, I want to know what I'm having for lunch every single day. And I don't want to have to stop in the middle of work to make my lunches. So we get all of our lunch boxes out. Each kid has 2. I have 3. So I can technically pack 3 lunches at a time. And for the week, that's probably enough for us because I'm eating leftovers from dinner the night before. And here's the other tip about packing lunches for the next day, the night before. Obviously, you can batch a bunch of these up if you have enough boxes or containers for the whole week. But if you don't, and you only have one container per kid, that is totally fantastic. I also want you to think about when you are putting all of your extra leftovers that you did not eat from the meal that you prepped away at night, don't put it all in one massive container. Actually get out these containers and put it in here, and then put the leftovers in a big thing. You don't need to be going and getting the big Tupperware container out in the morning and then putting everything from that into all of your little containers. Like, why not just do it from the beginning, right? So that's something that I have been doing that helps me tremendously when it comes to making sure that I have lunches packed and ready to go the night before. All right, here's tip number 3. We're talking about where we plug our phone in, and I cannot tell you enough how unbelievably vital this is. Wherever you are plugging in your phone, it absolutely should not be next to your bed. So this is on the other side of our bedroom right here. I charge my Aura ring in, which, by the way, if you haven't tried one of these, I love it very much. I have a couple chargers that I'll put here on the other side of the room. And I also have a plug-in in my vanity and in my closet. And so sometimes I'll plug in there. I also have been playing around with plugging it in downstairs. I love that very much. But sometimes I want a phone with me upstairs. If my husband is ever on shift, then I definitely will have a phone more nearby. But why? Why do we do this? What's so important about it? You want to be able to charge your phone on the other side of the room and not near your bed. So for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you are a snoozer, which people that hit snooze is like my biggest pet peeve, you might as well just set your alarm for 30 minutes later and like get up when it goes off. I'm not a snoozer. I'm always like, turn off your alarm. You know, when my husband's like hit snooze for 3 times, I'm like, that's so rude. But that's one big reason. But the other one is because you don't want scrolling to be the first thing that you do every single morning. What are you doing, Puppers?
Come here.
Okay, tip number 4 is to simplify and organize your cleaning and the routine that you have for keeping up with housework. So we're going to talk about 2 things really quickly. One is the laundry, because everybody always talks about the laundry. And when it comes to laundry, there's a lot of things that we can talk about, but the number 1 thing that I want to share with you is to simplify it. So I actually have some of my own stuff that I need to tidy up here. We got done with some of our laundry. These are our kitchen linens. I'm paperless in my kitchen for the most part. And so this is the bin that we keep things in, and I like to keep it pretty tidy, and it got a little mixed up. So while I'm actually doing my recording, I was like, hey, I'll just tidy this up. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about, is making sure that things are so simple in your house that it doesn't take much time for you to actually get in and get it done. The other thing is do smaller batches of laundry. Hit these areas more frequently in smaller segments. The one thing I don't recommend that I see a lot of people promoting, teaching, and really feeling drawn to is really long checklists. And I actually feel very strongly about the opposite. So when it comes to actual cleaning, this is a really good example. This is my entire cleaning tote. And this one. I normally have a container like this that has this in it, my own cleaner in it. And this just has like a couple rags, a couple scrubbers in here. I've got another video that will link right here that goes through my entire cleaning tote. But this is what I use to clean my entire house with. Like, it's so straightforward. I've broken my house into zones. I suggest that you do the same thing. And then I also highly recommend that you look at all of the laundry that has to be done on a weekly and a monthly basis and schedule it. When are you doing it? When is anyone doing it? Start outsourcing in your home. Simplifying what you have to do to clean your house is the number 1 way to escape your overwhelm. All right, let's hunker down and talk about tip number 5 right here from behind my desk and tell you that you absolutely, incredible tip. I swear by this. This is my method. You need to ditch your messy to-do list for your home and your business, but tip number 5 specifically is for your business. So this is my husband's notebook of ideas. And he was like, no, that's not my to-do list. That's just where I jot notes down. I'm like, but then you go back and you look at it later and it tells you what to do, right? Like, question marks, things that we're supposed to be doing. And everyone's like, well, if you don't put it there, where do you put it? Hands down, you need some type of task management software, right? You need a system that you are using on a regular basis inside of your computer for your business. If you want to scale, if you want to grow, you've got to get out of this pen to paper habit. And look, I love pen to paper. I love pretty pens. Actually, these are from Target and they're called U brands and they're very heavy and they're very beautiful. You should try them sometime. Obviously, I super duper love planners and pen to paper, and there is a time and a place for that. But this tip specifically is to get you out of the habit of writing everything down in a notebook for your business. You've got to start using a task management software. Asana, Trello, ClickUp, those are options. I prefer MeisterTask, but even more so than that, I prefer a really solid system that you use so that you're not always leaning on your pen to paper for all of those random ideas. Tip number 6 is to create repeatable processes in your business. If you are overwhelmed and you are trying to get organized, you're juggling a home and a business, one of the most fantastic places where you can begin to get organized is in your business. There are processes that you are doing all the time, whether that's recording podcast episodes or creating emails to your email list or whatever content you're producing, Instagram, TikTok, working with clients, creating your product, showing up and doing and delivering your service. All these things are repeated over and over and over and over again. I can guarantee you if I went through this entire thing and looked, which why don't we just look? Okay, so I'm already looking through here and seeing so many things that are repeating, like specific phone calls that need to be made, specific coursework that needs to be done. And obviously I know my husband's business really well, but the same things are being repeated over and over and over and over again. Those processes can be captured and they can be repeated. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a look at one of the ways that you can start to create repeatable events and repeatable steps in your business. This process is unbelievably important. If you look over here and I type in podcast, here's podcast production. This is what I'm doing over and over and over and over again. I'm producing podcast episodes. And so every single step of producing a podcast is all mapped out. The episodes that I have coming up, I outline them, I record them, I edit them, I schedule, they go off to the content calendar. Done. How about we look at YouTube, which is what I'm actually doing right now. Same exact thing, right? And this one has my editor in it. These are all the episodes I have to batch. Up next, the research, the outline, the recording, the editing, reviewing it, scheduling it, finalizing it, and then they're completed. I do this for every single major thing that I have going on in my business. If you look right now at what I'm actually working on, these are my tasks that I have for the whole entire week. I'm doing my YouTube recording right now for 2 hours. Every single Tuesday, this comes back onto my plate and I record that, and it just goes into done whenever I'm done with it. And then next week it gets circled back and we do this over and over and over and over again. All right, tip number 7 is to create repeating events in your home. If you are overwhelmed, it's likely because all of your bandwidth is consumed by things that you don't really need to be thinking about. There are so many things in your home that you can automate. What I mean by that is not necessarily by having a smart home or having all of these fancy electronic features. I just mean you should be looking at the things that you're repeating on a daily and a weekly and a monthly basis and making sure that you schedule those things in your Google Calendar to repeat. What that might actually look like, let me show you, is having a very strategic system for when you're meal planning and what you're meal planning. So I've talked about this before, but this is my menu board. It's still a work in progress, right? But every single week we put our meals up here. And this is my little basket that I am using. This is my little basket that I use, and it just has my menu cards in it like this. And there's some blank ones in here. All of these have actual meals on them. This is a system that I've been teaching for the last 5 years. It was one of the first systems I taught. I have a couple little magnets. Obviously, my board right now is built to where you can use dry erase or you can use the menu cards. I love that it has the ability to do both. I actually got that one from Pottery Barn and I love it. It's my favorite one that I've ever had. I got these little magnets off of Amazon. You can put them on your refrigerator. My refrigerator does not have magnets, so I got that board. I love having a menu board. This is one of the things that I've automated. We do it every single weekend. You guys, you're eating the same exact thing. Hamburger and homemade French fries, chicken and mac and cheese, meatball subs, steak and sweet potatoes. Like, what are the main meals that you're eating over and over and over again? A couple other ideas of what you can automate in your home are all of your fundamental needs. If you don't know what fundamental needs are, please make sure you go and download my workbook completely, 100% free. Teaches you 8 things that you can automate in your home every single week. Your date nights, how you're planning, all the things that you're doing or actually maybe not doing because you're too overwhelmed to get to them. So let's move on to tip number 8. Tip number 8 is to understand the concept of batching, specifically in your business. You can definitely batch stuff in your home, which we'll talk about that in a later episode here on the Systemize Your Life YouTube channel. So make sure that you are subscribed so that you get notifications when we release new videos, because that is going to be an incredible one. But for this tip specifically, I want you to start playing around with the idea of what it might be like to batch your work in your business. Now, just as a caveat, I personally have tried this so many times, and there are small facets of batching that I love. I think just a lot of people get this concept wrong. Batching doesn't mean that you have to do an entire month's worth of work all at once, and then that means you're a great batcher. It doesn't necessarily mean that, although that works really well for some people, and I think it's a great idea. For me, batching an entire month never really worked, but let's explore that for a second, and then we're going to talk about what it looks like to batch similar tasks throughout your day. So 2 different concepts here. If you want to batch, you might want to look at the major categories of things that you have to get done in your business in an entire month and break those things into 4 weeks. What this means is week 1, you're going to do all of your content. Week 2, you do all of your nurturing to your email list. Maybe you're writing all of your emails, etc. And then week 3, you're prepping for all of your client work for the next month, depending on what you have going on. Maybe it's your inventory, maybe it's stocking, maybe it's bulk ordering. Who knows what your business specifically entails, but you'll begin to see patterns, and you can sit down for an entire week, or maybe the first 3 days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is for batching for the month coming up ahead. And then Thursday and Friday are for all of the random weekly things that have to get done. The other way that you can consider batching in your business is the way that I like to do it. So whenever I sit down to do my podcasting, to do my YouTubing, I like to break up certain pieces of that. For me, if I go in to do my research, I do all of my research for the month, and that's a great way for me to batch, but I don't record them all at the same time. That is a lot of work. I'm not here for a marathon of recording face to camera or recording in my mic for YouTubing. I don't necessarily love that. I also don't really like sitting down and writing out a ton of emails all at once. And so I break those up and I hit them every single week. But there are certain parts of batching that I have found to help me organize my content creation and the way that I tackle my daily, weekly, monthlies, so that I can keep up and not be overwhelmed. Let's get cozy and snuggle up for this one. This is tip number 9. And this one is extremely practical, but probably one of the hardest things that people cannot dial in. Let's smash our sleep schedule, shall we? If you don't want to be overwhelmed and you want to get super organized, I highly recommend that you prioritize your sleep. What does that mean? How do we do that? What does it really look like? Well, I wanted to circle back to this concept that I have with my time blocks. So my 5 time block method is really your entire day broken down into 5 blocks. But those 5 blocks are really only 3 key concepts. Your morning routine and your nighttime routine are really the bookends of your day. And those routines right here fit into those morning and nighttime routine blocks. Those are the things that allow us to really protect our sleep and encourage us. Everything that you do in the middle of the day is where most of your energy is consumed, and we don't want those things to be pushed into our nighttime routine block. It's so vital that we protect that. It's very precious. In order for us to get to bed on time, we have to make sure that we're getting up and getting out of bed. Whenever I sleep in, I don't go to bed on time. I have to get up at the correct time every morning in order for me to be in bed on time at the right time every night. And some of the tips that we've already talked about in this video have said really important things about making sure that your routines are simplified, that you have a simple cleaning process, that your work block and your goals, everything that you're looking at doing throughout the day should be organized. And that's why I wanted to break it down in this video. All of these things happen in the middle part of your day, and then you're absolutely going to be prepared to protect your sleep every single day. You guys know this. We hear it coming at us all the time. And I don't always get it right myself, but what I do know is that whenever I do get adequate sleep, for me, 7 hours is skimpy, 8 hours is good, 9 hours is really juicy. And I don't need 9 hours all the time, but I definitely can't survive on 7 all the time. And I don't want to be leaning on supplements constantly, coffee constantly, sugar constantly, definitely a workout here or there. That also helps me sleep really well, and really great nutrition, making sure that my phone is plugged in on the other side of the room. Like, all of these tips that we've talked about are totally going to help you protect your sleep. All right, while I'm here and feeling super cozy, let's just talk about tip number 10, which is getting super clear on your goals in your business. You want to see something really cool? One of the ways, and the number one way that I get really, really clear in my business is by having my dream board set up inside of my paper planner. I've been doing this for the past 5 years, and I can go through every single one of my planners and show you how year after year after year after year, I have my dreams put here visually for me to see all the time. The way that I break those things down and I'm able to know what those goals are that I want to focus on, I actually use the Dream Planner from Horatio Printing. There's a lot of planners that will guide you through this, but I love this one the most. It is very straightforward. It's faith-based, which is really important to me. And it helps me go through my bucket list of all the things that I want to accomplish. And it helps me break it down even further from that. It goes through your fundamental needs, which is a system that I love. And all of these little beginning pieces of my year all kind of break down into me declaring and focusing on who I am. The other thing that I like to do is make sure that I know what my fears are. And for me, I use scripture to help me combat my fears. These are things that I meditate on, that I pray over, and that I really keep incorporated into my goals and into the work that I'm doing. This helps me be really well-rounded as a wife, as a mom, as a business owner, as a friend, as a human with a spirit and a body that needs to be taken care of. And all of those things are put into my goals. Now, I don't always reach my goals. Last year, I didn't reach my goals in a couple different areas, but I grew exponentially regardless of whether or not I hit that number. So don't attach yourself to the goal. Just make sure that you are very clear on what your goals are, and you absolutely will get yourself closer than you would have if you were unclear from the beginning. Tip number 11, we are nearing the end. The number one thing, if you're trying to grow your business, succeed at business while you're juggling your home, and it's very overwhelming for you to show up and actually get your work done, and you're working in the cracks of your day, this tip, my friend, is to ensure that you have specific work blocks organized for yourself every single week. You have to have a solid work block every day or every other day or whatever days of the week that you need to work if you're actually going to move the needle in your business. You can't just show up on a whim and think that anything's going to get done. Hamburgers at McDonald's don't get made when people just show up whenever they feel like working. Like, they clock in, they clock out. And I get it. You didn't create a business to be on the clock. But that's the beauty of it. You can be flexible with it when you need it to be, but you still have to be there consistently almost every day of the week in order for that thing to grow. Now, if you've gotten to a place where you can outsource in your business and you don't have to, that's amazing. But to build from the ground up, you've got to hit that thing with regular work blocks on a regular basis. Now look, I keep coming back to this tool that I've used, which is a paper planner over and over and over again. Yes, I do things digitally as well, which we've shown a little bit here. And I also use my phone and my calendar in my phone. But this here, and I have used these every single year for the last 6 years of running my business. I am going to show you how I have had work blocks every single year over and over and over again in order to help me stay very consistent. So here's the deal. These work blocks are going to help you stay productive. They're going to help you stay anchored to the things that you really want to get done, right? So here's my work blocks. This is my 2022 planner. This was my 2024 planner. This is my 2025 planner, right? And my work blocks are all in here as well. So this is how I organize my time, and making sure that my work blocks are in here is a tip that I absolutely had to share with you. Tip number 12, last but not least, and I got you a little bit on this one because the number one tip that I have to share with you right now in order for you to escape your overwhelm is to join me inside of my Escape Challenge, chelsijo.co/escape challenge, for you to snag your free seat. And listen, I'm teaching you all of this stuff in depth, plus so much more. It's 5 days. We're focused on organizing the 5 major components, the most overwhelming components of juggling home and business from your home, things that we need to get done there. Especially with the clutter. Day 1, we are getting your organized clutter. We have some really fun prizes, gifts, giveaways, community involvement, engagement. It's going to be a great time. Head over to chelsijo.co/escape challenge for all the details and to snag your seat. Thank you so much for being here with me inside of this episode. Comment below and let me know which of these 12 tips you're already doing and which of these 12 tips you can't wait to try out yourself. I'll meet you back real soon for another episode right here on the Systemize Your Life YouTube channel.